Okay, I'm going to show you how to remove the chain guard on your 12-inch, 16-inch, and 20-inch Huffy Grow Ride Move models. All three of these sizes use the same chain guard, just slightly different sizes, but they look like this. So you can follow along no matter what size you have. We need a couple of tools. Need a flathead screwdriver of the medium size. You don't want something that's super wide and chunky, and you don't want something that's super tiny like a knife. You need something kind of in the middle there. Need a wrench for your pedals that can be an open-ended wrench or an adjustable, but we're taking a pedal off. And then of course, if you're taking the chain guard off, it's probably because you're taking the back wheel off, and you need a 9/16 inch socket and a driver. So the first thing that I like to do is to turn this upside down so that you can get the back wheel off the ground. So just make sure that your seat's high enough that your wheel spins, because we're gonna be moving the cranks to get this off here. So first things first, take your pedal off. This is your drive side pedal, so it spins to the left. Left to loosen on this one. And the next thing we're gonna do is get rid of the training wheels. So we got some space here. I like to take both off. So what's happening here is that you're using the screwdriver in these little slots on the backside to pry this open. And there are three little tabs. There's 1, 2, 3 that are behind here. And they've got a slot on the backside, and you're really just kind of gently prying these open. It is plastic, so you can break these, and this thing is split in the back, and so really you're just gonna pop the tabs, it splits, and you pull it out like this. If you don't follow along, it can be a little bit frustrating, so make sure that we're moving the crank arm into the right position as you go so that you're not pulling your hair out. It can be frustrating. And then in the very back, once you remove this, there's a little clip that goes in the back here into these tiny little slots. That's what holds the back of the chain guard so it's not so floppy. That is this little guy here, and it fits behind your axle here, and it looks just like this. So as you go to, after the chain guard's off and you go to take your wheel off, this thing's gonna fall off. So just be conscious of this and note how it goes in and out, but it is hidden back here and it helps hold the chain guard on. Okay, so I'm gonna just take this off in one go, just as an overview so you can see the process, and then we're gonna go back and show you the close-ups of where all the grooves are. Make sure that your crank arm is in the right position, otherwise you're kind of fighting yourself on this. Grab your screwdriver, and I'm gonna pop this first tab. You can see it starts to separate right there. And I like to hold it with my other hand so that as I pop this one, this doesn't pop back in and it become a game of chase. Just like that. I'm gonna move my crank arm out of the way, put my finger in there. You can stick a wrench or whatever you want. And then, so I've got these 1, 2 are done. And then I go to the other side underneath, and the same thing. I'm just putting my screwdriver, and there's a peculiar angle in there. But once you're popped, then you're loose. So now I'm gonna spin my crank this way so it's facing the front. First is you need to pop it back just a tiny bit because we're pulling it off of these pins. So it's gonna go off of this just ever so slightly. And so once it goes back like that and this is free, I like to take this top one first and kind of move it over here, just like this. Push them with my bottom hand. And something like that. I don't expect yours to go that smoothly on your very first time, so just have some patience and take your time. And then once that's off, you'll take your 9/16 socket wrench and loosen this on each side, and then that little washer is gonna fall out, and that's how you change your wheel, change your tube tire. But let's put this back on, we'll flip the bike back around, and we'll show you the close-ups of how to take that off. Now we're gonna go step by step and show you the close-ups of how this thing comes off with each tab. And the very first thing we'll do is to make sure that your crank arm, this guy right here, is facing the front of the bike. So start with that, and then we'll move on to pulling the tabs on the backside here. So I'll flip the bike around so you can see. You got these 3 tabs. So there's one on here, which is the top. It's actually the bottom of the bike, but 1, 2, and the other one's down here. And this is where you take your screwdriver and you're just gently going into this little space, and you're really trying to pry this part up and not this part. You don't want to pry this tab. You're prying this away from the tab, and the tab's just going to pop out on its own. So we'll do that, and gently just pushing up. And I've got this thing open here, and I move on to the next one, just like that. And I'm going to move the crank arm out of the way. And then the last tab is on the bottom here, which is on the top of the chain guard. Screwdriver in, and just pop that. And now all three are loose. And now we're gonna put the crank arm towards the back of the bike. Gives us more room to slide it backwards. And then I just pop this loose, and then I'm gonna push it towards the back. And you only have to move it just a tiny bit, and we're really just releasing it from these tiny little tabs that are right here, and that holds it on the back. So once it's popped off, rotate the crank towards the front, because now we're gonna go towards the crank, and pop it off this side first. Make sure everything up here is still loose, and pop it off of this right here, and you're home free. There you go, just like that. And likely the whole reason that you're taking the chain guard off is to take the back wheel off, to either replace the wheel or especially if you get a flat tire. And when you're doing that and you loosen this axle nut to take the wheel off, once you get that loose, you've got this little tab in here, and this is the tab that holds on the chain guard in the back. And you can see that's right here. And as you take the wheel off, this thing's gonna fall out. And once you go to put the wheel back on, this little tab goes with the fat side towards the axle. It actually won't let you go the other way because it won't fit around the axle. So this is going to slide into the axle, fits right there, and then this tiny little tab right there goes to the outside, and that sandwiches in between your frame. Let's say that you've changed your back tire and it's time to reassemble. So we will tighten your axle nut back up, and making sure that the tab is back in the right place. Axle is tight, and we're ready to put the chain guard back on. So you're really kind of just doing the same steps in reverse. Make sure that the crank arm is pointing forward. We're gonna slip the circle over the crank arm just like that. And then the next step is to take this part and kind of twist it a little bit. So we're gonna be going underneath this here, in between the chain and the frame here. And so right there, got that lined up. Make sure that it's poking through the crank arm, just like that. It's gonna need a little bit of coaxing. I was getting hung up on this guy here, so be mindful of that. And then once you're loosely in place, then this one comes back over top, just like that. And if you're loosely in place, you're doing good. So once that is there, now we're gonna move the crank arm back again so we can push it back towards the back of the bike. And now we'll just line up these little tabs right here. We're back there again. And those are just gonna go right back into place, just like that. And I think that you should keep a hand on this because it's gonna pop out really easy and you get super frustrated. And then we're just making sure that these tabs go inside this little groove right here, all the way around. And if they're inside the groove, it pops together, just like that. You're putting your pedal back on, you're putting everything back together, and you are done.